Hi. Um, so this is my book, Good Catholic Kids. I wrote it several years ago. It was the first book I wrote in a series. It's now not the first book in the chronological series. There's two prequels, but it was the first one. It's called Good Catholic Kids. It takes place on a cross-country road trip from Boston, well, from Salem, Massachusetts to Denver, Colorado, and that is a picture from an actual the crowd that you can see in the picture is a photo that I took um, in 1993 at World Youth Day, which was this a World Youth Day was this event. It was the biggest event of the 90s. It took place. There's over 1 million people there, and it took place in the desert in Colorado, and people came from all over the world to see the Pope. And it was mostly teenagers who came from all over the world to see the Pope. And we had to walk 7 miles in like 100-degree weather into the middle of the desert to see this event. And we spent the night, and like nobody knew that the weather was going to drop into like the below freezing levels. And it was just like a really, that in itself was like a really interesting like experience. But what the story is about and why I'm like mentioning it right now is because it is the 11th is National Coming Out Day, and this is a coming out story because it's based on a true story. It's based on my life as a teenager, and I happened to realize that I was queer when I was on the bus trip to see the Pope as a teenager, a 14-year-old. And this is based on, the character is named Karen Rogers. The series is called The Offbeat Life of Ren Anonymous, and it's a story of a 14-year-old named Karen who is questioning her gender, her sexuality, she's realizing that she is neurodivergent, and she's having problems with addiction and depression and all kinds of things. So she's just going through a lot, and it's a spiritual journey, and it is like there is aspects of spirituality in it, but it is not religious book. If you're religious and strictly religious, this is not the book for you, probably. I mean, maybe, if you're an open-minded religious person, but it's not, it's called Good Catholic Kids, but it's really, like, I joke that it should be called Bad Catholic Kids, but they're not bad kids. They're good kids. They get into trouble, but it's not, they swear, they have sex, they do drugs, there's all kinds of things that they say sacrilegious things. There's, it's a lot. Like, this like book kind of reminds me of like a combination of a bunch of like movies from the 90s, because it takes place in the 90s, and it reminds me a little bit of like Dazed and Confused, although that takes place in the 70s. But it reminds me a little bit of Dazed and Confused, or the movie Kids, or there's a movie called Saved that's a lot like this in a lot of ways. That was probably from the early 2000s. But like there's a lot of, it's funny, and but it's got deep thoughts, and it's based on a true story, and it is a coming out story. And the whole the whole series is a coming of age series that Karen comes out. Karen, she goes by different names at different times, and but she eventually like comes out, like, and it's a story of like, being on this Catholic road trip where it is not normally the kind of place where a person's supposed to be questioning these things, but that's typical. It's teenager and going through that kind of stuff. And and everyone has to figure it out at their own time. And that's kind of when I figured it out, and I thought it would make for an interesting book. And Anyway, that's again, that's the cover is like, oh, and that picture of the nuns is like just like a picture that I drew based on a birthday card that my sister gave me. It's smoking nuns, and so I added some smoking nuns into the story, and I put them in the background. It's supposed to be like a big like screen in the background of the event and everything. Which we called like Popapalooza and Godstock and stuff. And there's like that's listed in the book, that's mentioned in the book and stuff. And it's like, there's a lot of pop culture references. There's a lot of mentions of like music and things that people that we were into and things that were going on and like things going on in the country and stuff and politics and different things and thoughts about religion, thoughts about spirituality, but not maybe your typical thoughts. So anyway, it's called Good Catholic Kids. It is a coming out story. The prequel is called Karen's Web of Chaos, and that could be worth reading first, but either way, my name is Jimmy Cliche, JYMICLICHE. You can look it up on Amazon, and this book is on there, Good Catholic Kids by Jimmy Cliche, and it's a good story for National Coming Out Day, so check it out.